It's the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107. Well, we thank you for joining us here on this Monday evening. Excited. I'm your host, Jamal Collier, and it's an exciting show for you. A lot of things going on in the sporting world. The Crosstown Classic of the baseball's got everybody mildly buzzed, mildly excited, mildly anticipated, limping with anticipation.
Miley Cyrus.
I wish. I wish we had a Miley Cyrus. Then we just got the Cubs and the Sox. We've got a lot of NBA playoff stuff to talk about, and these guys are all excited about that.
Upset alert. Washington's up 6-0 on Indiana right now. So.
Indiana might not Indiana might not score.
First shutout in playoff history.
Elliot Sill, Torrance Sorrell, and Joey Gelman are joining us here today, and we thank you for welcoming us into your home or your car or your wherever the heck you may be listening to us. You can listen to us so many places. You can follow us on Twitter.
Nice segue.
Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty good at this. You follow us on Twitter. That is at Illini Drive, ILLINIDRIVE. We keep you updated throughout the entire week about things going on and cool stuff around the sporting world. And you can catch us on UPTV. It's every Wednesday night at 9. The good, hardworking people at Urbana Public Television Company put us on the big screen or the flat screen. I don't know whichever you want to call it these days. And like I said, we got a lot to get to today. We're going to start off with the Blackhawks. A little off here. We're going to start off with the Blackhawks, who are up now 2-0 on the Wild. It was just a couple of weeks ago that you guys were all panicking that the Blackhawks were down 2-0, and they haven't lost since. They won 6 in a row, and some may say they might not lose in the playoffs again, Joey Gelman. I'm saying that, but they might not.
No, I mean, they're a really hot team right now, and you got to ride that stride that they've had, and Corey Crawford's been a big part of that. I will say, Game 2 in the second period, I wasn't as impressed with the way they played. And, the offense has a lot of firepower on this team. But if they're not going quickly past the defenders, if they're on a normal rush, it seemed like the Wild have a really good blue line defense. And I think that gave the Hawks a lot of problems early on in that game. But their star power, and once they got the speed element of a lot of Minnesota's defensive miscues, they were able to score, and obviously you saw that on 2 breakaway goals. But defensively, for Minnesota, they have a little bit of an edge if they get the Hawks kind of in a lull and in going in motion there of trying to just stop them on the rush.
And speaking of Corey Crawford, how about that save, man, right over the crossbar and it almost hit that Gatorade water bottle? That was pretty nuts. But I was doing a little bit of reading earlier before the show, and it's weird because they said that a couple, fans said that they not obviously as interested in this series than obviously the Blues series because obviously it was more competitive, and they just think this series is more so of a walk in the park. But, I mean, if you're a Blackhawks fan, you kind of want to see a sweep. You want your team to kind of, put their foot in the other team's throats as opposed to, I guess, having maybe a competitive series.
I still think the Blackhawks are going to win the series. That was just one little nugget I found the other day, just something they had a little bit of trouble with. But I think they knocked off probably one of the best teams in the West in the Blues in the first round on their way as they keep going through the playoffs.
We could bring that up and we can talk about that. Just not with the Blackhawks, but with any of some of your favorite sporting teams. Would you rather them have a fun, exciting 7-game series with a bunch of overtimes and just a bunch of things that are fun to watch as a sports fan? Or, nope, go ahead, sweep them 4-0, blow them out. I don't want to worry about it.
It really depends what the destination is. I think if you're talking about a team like the Chicago Bulls or something, you want them to give you a show while they're in it. But the Blackhawks, they can have that series in the title series. You don't want them getting worn down before they're playing for the cup. And so I think that's why, the Blues, it was kind of interesting because it was a rivalry series, and that was fun, renewing that St. Louis-Chicago rivalry. But at this point, it's just time to get a move on and get to the cup, So I think you take a series, that'll go 4-0 or 4-1 like last year's series against the Wild did.
And speaking of fatigue, the Wild obviously had Game 7 against Colorado, a team that a lot of people thought who was going to actually take the series, but
they won in overtime.
Yeah, right. And I guess, do you kind of think the Wild is a little bit fatigued in this series somehow?
I think they probably could be, and you also have to remember that their goalie, Darcy Kemper, got hurt in that game as well. So, obviously, Brizgalov's a good goalie, don't get me wrong, but you're playing with your number 2 goalie against one of the hottest offenses in the league. So it's a difficult task that they have.
And another thing too, just as far as the Wild, they haven't been real good as far as power plays, and they also played the Blackhawks last year too in the playoffs, and they had the same issues. So it's just kind of ironic that this kind of nipping them in the bud once again in the 2014 series.
One of the things, the Blackhawks obviously have looked really good in the first 2 games of this series, and have looked in the last 4 games of the last one. Is this a team that right now is just clicking on all cylinders and is going to, we talked about this a little bit, that maybe that 2-0 was their bump in the road, and now, I don't say they're going to cruise to the rest of these playoffs, but on paper, they've probably got at least, they probably have the most talent and are defending champions, so you'd expect them to be the team to repeat. Is that how we should be feeling right now, is that they're going to cruise through the Wild, get on to the next series, and do some of the same?
I think so. I mean, just the way they've been playing, it's impressive what they've done, and even, as much as I kind of had that argument last week on their defense and not being the biggest fan, and of course it's one of the best teams in hockey, but they do have a tremendous ability to block a lot of shots, and they give up their bodies, and you see that with Nick Hjalmarsson getting one in the face on Saturday, and just really they don't stop, they don't stop hustling, they don't quit, and so with that, coupled with the amazing offensive talent they have to be one of the top teams here, and the 2-0 blip, I think, in that Blue Series was maybe the only one you may see.
I feel the same way in that I was very excited when the Wild beat the Avalanche last Monday, I guess it was, because I think the Wild are just a better matchup for the Hawks, and as much as kind of how we saw last year, the Wild are a lot better than last year, but they're still not at the level where the Blackhawks really are, and these 2 games, those are at home for Chicago. They should win those. I do expect Minnesota to answer a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's win both of these games. I certainly expect them to win. Play Tuesday night. People watching on Wednesday, they would have won. I don't know Elliott's little stupid gimmick that he does. I don't know how they would have won. But
the psychic.
Yeah. Anyway, I do expect this to be 2-1 after Tuesday. This is the next game Tuesday.
Yeah.
The Wild to pick up that W. Do you think the Wild are going to answer a little bit here, or are they kind of going to bow out?
I think they could probably get one, and I think when you got a leader like Zach Parise on that team, they're not going to go out that quietly. So I think they get one, but I still think the Hawks probably run away with the series 4-1.
I think what you got to look out for is if the Hawks do get that game on Tuesday, they go up 3-0, and then they kind of get in the mode of, okay, we're cruising. We're on to the next round. Because you see that in hockey more than other sports. A team gets a 3-0 deficit and then makes it a series, and
right.
We've seen a few teams win.
And it still doesn't happen a whole lot compared to hockey, but it does happen almost significantly more than other sports, because in baseball it happens just one time.
Uh-huh.
Basketball never still, yeah. And in hockey it's single digits still, but there's maybe 6 or so. I don't have to look that up exactly, but it happened. It happens more frequently than.
It's not out of the question like it would be in the NBA.
Yeah, NBA you're done. In baseball, really you're done.
Yeah,
and that's just an interesting. I don't know why that is.
But I would say that right now, if the Wild, it's happened four times.
Okay, so almost it feels like more, and it's been relatively recent.
And the Sharks just did it this year.
Right.
They were up 3-0 and lost to the Kings.
Yeah, it may be because, and I think the Kings did it maybe a couple of years ago, didn't they? Or somebody did it and won the cup.
Yeah, the Kings did it.
The Kings, that's right. Okay, my memory's serving me a little better.
And that's another thing is like if the Hawks are able to advance past the Wild, which I think we all think they will. Who are they going to face if they're playing the Kings? That's a team going for its second title in 3 years.
Right.
So
we're in the Western Conference Finals because the Hawks last year too.
Right. So they're there, and I don't think it's possible. You don't just cruise past that team. No. That would be a grueling series.
I mean, they won in 5 last year.
Yeah.
But at the same, those are a hard 5.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're facing them twice in a row, I don't know.
It's tough. I don't expect the Hawks to finish the sweep off and go sweep another team and just kind of. When I say cruise, I mean a little differently.
Yeah.
I just kind of. I could see them wrapping this series up in 5 and getting some rest and being ready to take on the Kings, so I kind of expect them to face. And I don't know. It feels very good. At the same time, I know the Wild are going to have an answer. I think they're too good of a team not to do something on Tuesday night. And if they don't, Well, then the Hawks are probably going to cruise. Right. You listen on Wednesday, yeah, well, the Hawks are going to cruise, and they're going to sweep them and be in the next round waiting.
My fleeting prediction is that the Wild are going to answer after going down 3-0.
Okay.
Just a gut feeling.
Answer as in win a
game.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
win a game.
At least maybe
least.
another. It depends on, I don't know.
This is how they feel.
Can't predict too far in the future, man.
Exactly. Can't get our what ifs going. I want to talk really quick, too, switching gears to the Big Ten. And they announced something about the Big Ten basketball tournament. There's a possibility, at least the rumors are swirling, that the Big Ten basketball tournament may end up in D.C. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was something. It popped on Twitter because they had a press conference today talking about was the Big East Big Ten combination of games tipping off the year starting in 2015. I think you're seeing Illinois face DePaul already. They're not Big East anymore, but the Catholic Seven. But yeah, that was an interesting thing. And then the rumors that it's moving to D.C. It kind of seems like you're taking away the Big Ten aspect of the Big Ten basketball tournament.
Right.
Kind of taking away the Big Ten feel of it because now you have Maryland and Rutgers coming in, but the fact that you move the Midwest tournament to the East Coast, moving offices to the East Coast, it's a very weird trend. I mean, it makes sense money-wise because you want to expand that audience, but in terms of the major players and schools, I don't see Maryland or Rutgers being hard-hitting Big Ten powerhouses right when they get into the league. And so, the Ohio States, the Wisconsins of the world, we can throw in Illinois in there because we're here. Just those powerhouse Midwest teams now having to go all the way east, the fan base having to go all the way east. It just seems like a weird, logical move when you're in the heart of the Midwest.
I guess they're trying to, I understand it. They're trying to capture that market and say, hey, Washington, D.C., you're a Big Ten market now.
Right.
But I don't really like it. I mean, I think they can afford to do it. It's not like, Midwest fans are going to mutiny and overthrow the Big Ten and Jim Delaney and say, hey, bring it back to Chicago, Indianapolis, maybe Minneapolis if you're feeling cold. But like those kinds of places, I think it's all right. I see what they're doing, so I'm not too excited or upset about it. But
and I mean, since the Big East had that whole shake-up recently, moving the Catholic schools out of there and rebranding their conference. I mean, with all the parity, I guess, between the conferences and the realigning, do you think this is insinuating that there would be a merger of the two in the Big Ten and the Big East? I know it's a far-fetched question, but the trend moving east kind of plays into that.
I think it does a little bit. I think we're sort of letting our speculation grow wild here.
Oh, absolutely.
It's certainly possible that people are thinking about doing that for the future. But I think right now what we're looking at is the Big Ten sees a market that's available for the taking because of how fragmented they are now, split among the ACC and the Big East. And so now the Big Ten is trying to assert itself in sort of this territorial war.
What Jim Delaney's trying to take over the world.
Starting with the East.
When we get to it, Jim Delaney's trying to just spread the Big Ten East, and he's going to spread West, going to spread South, and he's just going to be the
take
big
over
America.
Cuba and
Exactly.
Someone's got to do it.
I like it. I mean, I like the idea of putting it in, and obviously Chicago's a big city and a big kind of central location, but getting out there, like you said, to just new markets and hey, it's all about the money. And go out there and make a bunch of money and getting able to put in these big venue and showcase this brand of basketball to people who don't get to see it, which sometimes Big Ten basketball may not want to see.
It'll be good for get them some revenue to pay their athletes, which will be mandated by them. So.
As much as I don't really like the move, I guess it makes sense in terms of the fact that you would get the Midwest buzz, if you will, on the East Coast. Like everyone complains about the big East Coast biases, and now that bias kind of turns into your conference, which I guess in one way can seem kind of positive, but travel-wise, it still logistically seems strange to me.
Well, I was going to bring that up. If you are Nebraska, you totally hate this move because you have to drive. I mean, what is it, 1,000 miles? I don't even.
Yeah, it's entirely across the country.
Exactly. Ooh. So they are totally against this and should be calling Jim Delaney now and said, we're not in for this. This is what we signed up for in whatever year we got in.
But TV-wise, you're getting Nebraska now on the East Coast, and, the mothership of ESPN could even pick that up now that it's an East Coast product.
You talking about traveling? I mean, we went to Indianapolis this past year, so now we got to make the trip to DC. So if we make the trip, so
Yeah,
we're ready
exactly.
to eat
We can-
lobster or something.
Yeah, right. So they're not thinking of us about these ideas and these moves. So just an interesting thing there. I like the Big East and the Big East Big Ten thing, and I'll tell you what, my mind wandered a little bit too and said, Big East kind of sucks now. I could imagine a time pretty soon where all of a sudden these two conferences kind of just merge into one super conference. The Big East 10 or the Big Ten East.
And they'd call it the
Or
Big
the-
Ten.
Yeah, with 25 teams. They'd still be the Big Ten. It's ridiculous.
Probably the top 10 and the other 15, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Big Ten and
Yeah.
then the other 15 or something. I don't know. We're going to take a commercial break here. We still got a lot to get to with the NBA. But we're going to talk a little baseball when we get back. The Cubs and the Sox are playing, and they're playing, but no one's really excited. Are they really playing? We're going to talk about that after this commercial break. This is WPGU 1071.
Hi, I'm Gene Honda, public address announcer for the Chicago Blackhawks and the Big Ten men's basketball tournament. And you're tuned into the Illini Drive at 5.
Illini Drive here, back in action as we roll on to the Crosstown Classic, the battle for the Crosstown Cup, right? It's Crosstown Cup or is the BP? What is the cup now?
It's
Yeah,
called the
BP.
Cubs are playing the White Sox.
No, that's the Crosstown Classic. The prestigious Crosstown Classic, the prestigious BP Cup.
Yeah, Comcast Sports had the big trophy
Mm-hmm.
on their set today, which was
For the year?
strange.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what you play for. The Cubs and the Sox.
Was it like a bowl game or
beginning of
something?
May. Yeah, exactly.
trophy?
It's like the was Ohio State and Illinois play for the
Illabuck.
Illabuck. Is the Illabuck more prestigious than the Crosstown Cup? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Ohio State.
Maybe.
It's the Illabuck that Ohio State keeps. Okay, so it really counts. Anyway, the Cubs and Sox are playing, and you won't find a bigger baseball nerd than myself. Probably within about 150 miles.
I don't think I'd look for a bigger baseball nerd than yourself.
You'd be right about that because that would just be a bad conversation. to have.
Your Padres fedora that just threw us all off.
Exactly. Exactly. I've got very obscure things like that. I'm really into my fantasy team's 3 for 4, by the way, right now already. Anyway,
3 for 4?
3 for 4 on the day so far. I got a home run. I'm trying to check who did it. Daniel Murphy.
Oh, gosh. No,
And I got
that
the-
wasn't
I
an
got the-
invitation, Jamal. I was
And I
just
got
asking. Claire.
How many people just clicked over? So, fancy baseball? No thanks. Anyway, Cubs and Sox. Me, I'm a huge baseball nerd. And you know what? I don't really care that much that they're playing this week. And, usually when these teams played, I think of it as recently as 5 or 6 years ago, it was a big thing. And, I Cubs fan, I'd be talking trash to my Sox friends, and the 2 or 3 Sox fan friends that were actually there, they'd be talking trash to the Cubs fans. And you'd have people trying to go up to the game, and it'd be full house and all that, and it's just not like that. I mean, I just don't sense an excitement for this series. Is it just me, or do we feel like, man, no one cares right now that these two teams are playing?
I mean, both teams are not very good this year, and the fact, one, that, two, it's in May.
We got the NBA and NHL playoffs. So those the two main things that's going on right now. And then going back to what you said, both teams are but even if both teams was playing bad, it's still.
But yeah, I can remember a couple of years ago, both teams. I can remember at times that both teams have been bad, or just mediocre even. I mean, the Cubs are bad and the Sox are kind of mediocre. But I remember both teams are mediocre, and people still get relatively excited for these games. And I don't feel like there's any excitement at all.
Just no one's in baseball mode yet. Like you said, it's still the NBA playoffs.
I don't
disagree
know.
with that.
What about the context? I think these teams have been bad for a while now.
Is that it?
I think it might be people are just like,
That now it's been, they have not both been to the playoffs since 2008.
Right.
The Cubs are obviously in the midst of their worst stretch in franchise history. And I think,
which is saying something.
It is. That's bad. What I think it is, these games it's May 5th. It is May freaking 5th, and they're playing right now.
And midweek games,
And
too.
and it's right. Exactly. This is Monday through Thursday, I think they're playing this 4-game series.
Oh, you think it's an interleague thing?
No, I think it's it's early. I mean, yeah, maybe that's just we've kind of now grown. We've seen the interleague thing so many years that now it's not special anymore.
It shouldn't be.
It's kind of just. I mean, it's just like Cubs Cardinals.
But rivalries like this should be in July.
When growing up, I felt here back in my day. Growing up, they were It was June. It seems to play in maybe early June, then played again in July, or played in maybe the last, like it was May 31st that it started. It's just something in me that says May 5th. Really? They're playing this now, and then we won't play each other again for the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe that's why I just feel like I'm not in Cubs Sox mode yet.
You think like 15 more games of 5 and 10 ball would get people more excited for these teams?
We would take 5 and 10 ball for 15 more games if you're offering that. By the way, no, maybe not. Yeah, because normally about mid-June. But maybe it's, you brought up the point that, you know what, with the Blackhawks being so good, the Bulls obviously just got eliminated, but the Bulls had been in it, and the playoffs are still going on for both those leagues, and they're actually really good. And maybe that's it, that the NHL and NBA players have also been just really good this year. Our baseball teams have been really mediocre. Why turn off the excitement for this other cool thing to look at this less cool thing?
Yeah, I think that's.
Is that it?
You basically captured
I figured it out.
It's like we can.
I'm interested in this. I was trying to tweeting this out. Are people interested in the Cubs, Sox, and why? I mean, what do people care? I want to tweet that out. That's Adeline I drive.
Was this the first time that this battle's going on around the time that all this is going on?
I mean, it's been earlier and earlier the last couple of years, and it's as far as the dates have been pushed up. So they've been playing in May probably for the last 3 or 4 years. But it feels even in May I was like it's like May 12th or May 15th. I'm like, this is early.
And you kind of forget about the beginning of the season too, no matter who you're playing. So it's like when they were both good in 08, when you had those series back and forth, and it was in the thick of end of June or early July when you knew both teams were heading somewhere.
Yeah.
When these teams are actually good and you're playing that late, it's a blast because it means something. Everyone's tuned in because there's nothing else going on, and it just fits better. And so, maybe down the road, I don't know if they can predict when they'll be good, and then you move the dates, but it's just way too early, and sadly has no meaning the past few years.
And I think, there's obviously I think we're uncovering multiple factors to why this is happening. I think if you have both these teams start to bounce back next year, certainly they both have hope going for them for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in no way saying that the Cubs Sox as being a draw and being exciting is not dead. I mean, that's
right.
I'm not saying that at all. Yeah.
But this is not the year for it.
Yeah. And I'm probably just curious that, man, even I'm not excited about
That's
going on the baseball season. I'm saying, okay, I don't get it. What's wrong? So I'm just kind of curious to hear, like I said, what you guys think about it.
Man, there is something to see. I mean,
Exactly.
you got Abreu on the south side that's just playing unbelievable baseball right now in his first year in the big leagues and
First month,
excuse me. And on the Cubs side, I mean, you go to see the Castros, the Rizzos, even Mike Gold, see what they have there. So there is something to see, but you just kind of know that it's not going anywhere. But it is an excuse for a Cub fan to say, oh, I'll go see this guy Abreu play because he's that good, or I'll go see Rizzo play because they're playing my team, and it's an excuse to go to the ballpark. But when you have midweek hockey games, no one's going to leave their couch to go to U.S. Cellular Field.
What? Well, no one goes to the U.S. Cellular Field regardless win.
They have good food.
Maybe
there.
that's the problem.
That's my. Is it Wrigley?
Oh, Wrigley, excuse me. Wrigley first.
Right.
So
that's those games will not be sold out. Tonight it won't be sold out. I can almost guarantee you that. And tomorrow, I'm sure the Blackhawks. I don't know if they're a late start tonight. I have to look it up. Anyway, they probably won't really sell these 4 games out. And it's at Wrigley. Wrigley usually, USL, you can say what you want, man. But Wrigley, they'll usually sell out. You mentioned Abreu, too. He won the American League Player of the Month for the month of April. He's the first White Sox player to win American League Player of the Month since guess who? And I think I told you. I don't know. Did you hear this before the show? Who's the last White Sox player to win American League Player of the Month? Who do you think?
I would have no idea. I mean, what year would it be from? What year?
Just think about the White Sox player that would win Player of the Month.
Player of the Month.
Yeah, not like a prestigious. I'm not saying the MVP.
Uh-huh.
Just the freaking Player of the Month. A White Sox player that had a better month than anybody else in the American League. It hasn't had Paul Konerko in these last couple years. Hasn't done it. Adam Dunn hasn't done it.
Would it be 2005, that team?
Maglio Ordonez in 2003.
Wow.
That blew my mind that he is the last Sox player. They haven't had one guy just have a freaking good month in 10, 11 years. What? What are they doing over there?
I mean, when's the last Cubs player to win
I
that?
was just gonna say that.
I would
Moises
imagine.
Alou.
I would imagine Derek Lee probably did it the year he hit 340.
Oh,
and
yeah.
almost won a triple. That was in 08. I'd imagine he did it. Off the top of my head,
That was in 08?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was because they were the 199 games.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would imagine somewhere in there. I'd imagine. Yeah, imagine even. Yeah, I'm just trying to look that up. It might be. Anyway, just a side note that I didn't understand. And also, we want to talk about also ridiculous things. The Cubs won 2 or 3 from the Cardinals this weekend. That was their first series win of the year.
Hey.
Easy.
Maybe that's why people are not excited. Yeah, just
Hey, Chicago,
Yeah.
what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today.
That sounds a lot worse coming from a Packer fan. It just does.
September of 09, we have Derek Lee won the
Okay.
Cubs. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So the Cubs have a
Way
little
less
bit.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I wonder where that ranks among teams that have had
Yeah,
droughts like
there are
that.
longer droughts. Yeah, that's good.
I'm sure there are. Like,
yeah,
I don't
you
know.
imagine.
I can't imagine.
I mean, I couldn't. Even for the Sox, I was like, I am shocked.
Yeah,
that-
yeah. The Sox aren't on that level of bad. though.
Yeah, it's not like they've been. I can't think of a team that's been that bad for that long. No one's been that bad for that
Yeah.
long. You know, like the teams who were bad, they were like the Tigers were still bad.
Yeah.
In 03, they were losing 106 games.
Well, the Royals have.
the Royals have been pretty mediocre. Since
Yeah,
then.
they've risen from terrible to mediocre. But
Yeah.
I think mediocre gets it done once out of.
I'm sure the Royals have had, or the Orioles. Who would you say the Royals?
Royals.
The Royals. Yeah, I'm sure the Royals have had somebody. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who probably could have been. I can nerd out a little. Name obscure Royals player of the month. That's what we're going.
That should be a
nowadays.
segment.
No, it might be. I think I'll beat you guys.
Your
next year.
source for Illini sports.
Cubs and Sox again for the rest of the year, and kind of looking forward. We talked about this before. But what kind of things should we get excited about, or what for someone who's looking for a reason to still want to tune in and on a summer day or go to a game on a summer day? What things?
So you're trying to.
Give me a
Why
reason
should
to
I
buy a team.
care?
Why should I spend my money to watch either of these teams?
Well, you have the Cubs mascot.
There, exactly. That's pretty much all you got.
But he's pantsless, so it leaves a little bit of desire there.
It is a terrible time to be a baseball fan.
I mean, what does it really come down to for you when the team is not gonna flirt with playoffs? Like, what are you really looking to get out of a team? I think, you still got rivalry games. They beat the Cardinals. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Woo.
For me, for the Cubs, is Wrigley. Wrigley sells me the idea of going to Wrigley on a summer day or even summer night, hanging out with people in the bleachers or whatever. Wrigley still has enough value. And in fact, I just like baseball. I mean, I'd pay to see them play. Let's say if Boston was in town or the Yankees were in town or somebody.
So the
big
two
like
best
that.
teams.
If somebody, yeah, exactly. If a really good team was in town or, Miguel Cabrera was in town or something, maybe I'd pay to see that. I wouldn't pay to see Miguel on the South Side. I mean, maybe if the Sox or the Yankees or someone was in the cell. Otherwise, to sell it's got to be the other team. Somebody's giving me tickets, or the Sox have got to be good for me to go.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get up for the Miami Marlins
Yeah.
June 6th through the 8th when that?
That's coming up next.
Yeah, that's their next headlining act.
Yeah, there you go. That's
It's tough, and that's one of the things about baseball being so long.
I was just about to. I was going to. Perfect transition. You read my mind there. As a guy who is not as big a baseball fan as me, and the same with you, do you feel as though the baseball season is too long?
I do, and here's the thing: is like teams that are out of it for too long.
Okay.
It's May. You've got 5 more months left of baseball season.
For teams who have no shot. That's the same in most. You know those teams were out of it before the season. They threw a pitch. And I feel the same is true for...
Well, you don't quite know it because I didn't think the Brewers were going to be anything. But now I'm paying attention.
But you didn't think the
to what
Brewers
they
lose
do.
100 games, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, teams
Right.
who were going to lose 100 games before the year
Yeah.
are going to lose 100 games. So you knew that.
Right. But I think...
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about 162 games just makes them all seem kind of meaningless. If you win 10 games in a row as a Cubs fan, you're excited in the moment, but you're
It's
not.
Still, is what 8, 2 games under, I think, right?
yeah.
See now, my answer to that always is, yes, it's very long, but the games actually matter because 4 teams really only get in. I mean, now they got the extra wild cards, but that's a 1-game crapshoot that you don't want to be in. You want to win your division, and that's why I'm okay with the baseball season being as long as it is, when I am not okay with the basketball season being as long as it is, because everybody gets in. I mean, not everybody,
Except for the
but,
Suns.
but everybody. Yeah, exactly. But the Knicks and the Hawks are fighting
and
for
the
that
Knicks.
AC to playoffs when they are. Those are 2 terrible teams.
Yeah.
I know the Hawks went to Game 7 and whatever. But the Hawks, those are not good teams.
Right.
That's just how the East is, though, as compared to the West.
But it's like that more often. At least recently, it's been like that. Pretty.
Do you
often.
think that if baseball expanded its postseason to 8 teams, or to 8 teams per league, do you think that they would have to cut down on the regular season then?
Yes, because
You
they
can't go
have
into
to.
November.
That's right. You can't because it'll get cold in 2
Well,
cities.
yeah.
I
Right.
would not be in favor of that at all. I would hate that as a matter of fact.
You want to keep it to 4
I keep it to
main series?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the playing game. I like it just as a fan to get to watch. As a team, I'm saying, oh no, we want to win our division. I don't want to be. I don't want
Right.
to touch that. So I'm okay with that. I don't want them adding. It's too much of a good thing. I don't want them to keep adding teams, even put 6 in and give buys. I don't want any of that.
What I would do with the MLB season, and this is ridiculous, admittedly,
Yeah.
I would break it down and I would take, after the first 60 games, I would lop off the bottom 10 teams, and then after the next 60 games, I'd lop off 10 more teams, so that you've got something to play for. You need to be in that top percentile by the time the cut line comes around, because otherwise you're not going to make it.
But how do you even do contracts in that? I mean, how would you do that?
I don't know. You
But,
can have
yeah.
them play and get.
Yeah,
I've thought about this a lot, actually. I'm explaining the bare bones version of it.
Okay.
But
that's,
there would be a chance to play to get back in, and you would just be playing with your little 10-league minor league system or whatever. But I
hate
don't
that
know.
idea, but okay.
I think, yeah.
I mean, but and the reason the NBA, when they had the lockout season, it was 50 games.
66.
66. Okay, 66 games. Excuse me.
Hockey was 50.
Right. Even for hockey, I loved it. I loved both of those seasons because the regular seasons were better to me. Everybody was playing hard every night, and it just made interesting basketball. You don't need 4 nights off in between basketball games. Sorry. You just
Yeah.
don't. I think the hockey season's a little long as well, and I saw this with the Blackhawks. Really, the last couple of months that they limited to the playoffs, they said, "Who cares?" And the reason I give hockey a little bit of more slack than the NBA is because in hockey we see 8 seeds win championships and 7 seeds win championships a lot more frequently than the NBA.
Yeah. NBA, you sort of have you
can-
usually have your teams. This year's a little different, actually,
A little
because the
bit.
entire West could win it, or the Heat, or if the Pacers get better, which is a lot for the NBA. Usually,
It
it's only
is.
in 3 or 4
Right,
teams.
really, yeah. I mean, last season you could have said, okay, Indiana, Miami, Spurs,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Thunder. But yeah, and this year it feels like, yeah.
But
It's a little
but I think in baseball, I mean, it is what it is. I just wish that they would make the games shorter.
People kind of brought that up recently, and I also hate that argument because football games.
Not like an inning shorter.
You're
Just
talking about-
speed them up.
Right, because they shouldn't be going 3 hours and 50 minutes or
No,
whatever.
absolutely not.
Football games are painful to me.
But there's only 16 of them.
Yes, I understand that.
And college football is even longer.
Yes.
It's amazing because like you
College
watch,
basketball, at the end of college basketball, to me feels like 3 hours.
well, at least college basketball, if it's not the last minute of a tournament game, you want more sometimes. For college
Yeah, sure.
football, you're there for 4 hours.
No.
It's miserable.
So that's why I get the baseball argument because, like you said, it's just every day. It feels like a 4-hour game every day. It's different, but football games are slow. Sorry, that's not popular, but this kickoff or this commercial crap needs to stop. It is my least favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It sucks.
There's too much commercials, and I think another thing is, I think humans are ready for sports to be shorter.
Yeah.
Because of how much we have to do with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff to do. Like, it used to be there was nothing to do on Sundays, and then the NFL happened, and now there's everything to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard just to hold people's attention. I mean, movies I think are too long now. Movies are always going to 3 hours now. I'm like, I need 2.5, 2:10. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just hard to hold people's attention span for that long, no matter really what it is.
Like,
I mean, we got an hour and people.
Yeah.
Look at the clock.
I think 20, 30 years ago, 4-hour baseball game sounds like fun. You know, you want them to keep going into more extras and stuff like that. But now it's just like, all right, why did I watch the first 5 extra innings if they weren't going to determine the winner?
Exactly.
You know,
because I got to get to this.
So you're saying people now got more lives than they did back then?
I think
more stuff.
Yeah, I think technology, and no, it's not just because I've become an adult since I was younger. It's
That's chill out.
And
That's
I think with stuff like Netflix, and Facebook, and there's so much to do on the internet, and
the channels. Everybody's got 500 channels, more channels than I can ever possibly watch. And on demand, and you say and Netflix, and just there's so much stuff for me to do and watch. You got to hold my attention pretty good.
Right. Yeah. And so you don't have time 4 hours a day in the summer.
You can't have 5 innings of nothing happening.
Right.
Unless you're into pitcher stools like myself. You can absolutely have that.
But then it's not nothing.
Exactly. Hey, seniors, graduation is creeping up on you. I bet you didn't even know it's coming up in about a week and a half, next Saturday. Did you check everything off that senior bucket list? If you know the schedule of events, you can find all things cap and gown related in the Daily Illini's graduation guide. That's the Daily Illini's graduation guide, and it's coming out tomorrow, May 6th. You can pick up your copy on newsstands everywhere. You can go online to dailyillini.com. I'm sure they're going to have it there. But you can look back on your past 4 years on campus. You can read about the commencement speaker and see where some of those famous alumni are now. If you got to figure out where they are now, you may not be so famous, but they're going to figure out, you can figure out a whole bunch of things in that graduation guide. Let the Daily Illini guide you through the end of May. That's the DI's graduation guide. Is on stands tomorrow. Make sure to get your copy for those seniors. It's over for those guys already. Isn't that crazy? We're going to take another commercial break. Here we got some NBA playoffs to talk about as well. We've already segued into the NBA a little bit more. But it's the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
Hey, this is Susanna Collins with Comcast Sportsnet, and you're listening to the Illini Drive.
Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1. We thank you again for joining us. We're talking about switch gears to the NBA playoffs. We just kind of talked about it a little bit during commercial break. 51 games have been played. LA, there was what? One 4-game series. 1 5-game series. Go ahead.
1 6-game series, 5 7-game series.
Wow.
That's amazing.
This is the...
that ties a record for most Game 7s in a playoffs, and it's only the first round.
In the playoffs.
And the entire postseason, there's never been more than 5 Game 7s.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
And most of them was all on the same day.
Yeah, they had 3 on one day, which is a record. Hockey set that record just a week ago in their first round. So,
our producer Darshan brought this question up in the pre-show that, man, in recent memory, can you think of a time where the NHL and NBA playoffs have just been this good? I mean, obviously we talked about these are record-setting numbers. The Game 7s are happening, but I mean, anytime I'm really excited about both the Hawks are obviously driving my NHL excitement, and you know what? It takes a lot to get me excited about the NBA. It's not true. The NBA is good. I do like it. And the NBA is good right now, and I wish I've had more time to watch some of these things.
And next year it's going to be even better with the draft class.
That's hope. Yeah. That's hope. And Derek will be back.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope. But yeah, I think you've had individual NBAs. I'm more of an NBA guy. You've had individual NBA series in the past that were phenomenal. In 2009, first round, you had Bulls versus Celtics.
Oh,
that was
classic.
Huge, especially here. Yeah. 2007, you had Warriors.
That may be my favorite playoff series. I'm cutting you off, ever, as in any other sports.
I agree with that.
I mean, the Blackhawks have had some good ones. The Blackhawks have had some good ones recently, but man, I was so invested in each one of those games and each one of those overtimes, every shot.
Yeah, that competes for me with 2 other basketball series. One is the 2002 Lakers versus Kings series. Okay. And then the other one was what I was going to mention, the 2007 Golden State Warriors versus the Dallas
Dallas,
Mavericks
yeah.
when Golden State became the first 8 seed to win a 7-game series versus a 1 seed. We haven't had any series individually reach that level, but the aggregate of having so many series that were this good has more than made up for that, I think.
Agreed.
And I think this is definitely the best NBA playoffs first round ever.
Yeah. That's not a... Yeah.
Which is amazing because the regular season kind of sucked.
Awful. Yeah. So you would not have expected this and just to happen at all.
Yeah, people are used to the West getting 8 teams to 50 wins, and the East getting 2 teams to 50 wins, and having 4 teams make the playoffs under 500.
Exactly.
Only one of them this year, by the way, did, which was the Hawks, and they went to a 7-game series against the.
Exactly. But normally when you see Indiana, obviously, we looked at the record, and obviously we know how Indiana finished, but Indiana and you see the Hawks being terrible. That always ends in Indiana in 4. Okay, like that's how it just ends. And this year, it goes to Indiana in 7 when the Hawks maybe should have won that series at some point.
Yeah, they had a couple chances there where I think Indiana really got it together in that 7th game, but they had a couple of chances where they could have won earlier in the season. Today, right now we have Washington, Indiana going on. That's 39-33. Washington leads.
Thank you for the play-by-play.
In the second quarter.
But let's talk about that series, Indiana and Washington. Obviously, the Wizards are everybody. We hate the Wizards here because they beat the Bulls. Were you like that as a kid, by the way? Were you they beat your team, somebody beat them, get them out of here, or did you want that team to win the championship?
It really depended on who it was. There were certain teams that I hated, like when the Rams beat the Packers, and they beat them 45-17. I was just like, oh, someone beat the Rams. I hate them. They suck. And then the Patriots did. That was nice. But sometimes it's nice to lose to the champs and
how did you guys
tout
feel?
that line.
Quickly, how did you guys feel about that?
I think it's you want to see them win the championship because it justifies your loss.
Okay.
Like if they don't win it, you should have beat them.
Right. What did you think?
I just want that team's blood. I want them. I want that team's blood.
I was the same way. I said, somebody take them out, and they better get swept, or they better get blown out. I don't want to see them anything good fortune to happen to them.
Exactly.
Okay, that was me.
It depends on the team, but I agree that. I agree with that sometimes.
The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Steelers. I don't remember what year it was if they had David Garrard.
Oh yeah.
I wanted somebody to destroy everything in Jacksonville. Didn't
They
care.
should have destroyed everything in Pittsburgh for losing to a David Garrard team.
Shots fired.
This is a television show that can't do those kind of things.
Just threw your pen at me.
Indiana and Washington. What are you guys' thoughts on this series? Is Indiana really just this bad, or they kind of figured this out?
It's kind of crazy. We have 2 new teams here because no one knew Washington was this good and no one knew Indiana was this bad.
Right.
So you would have looked at this potentially being a series. You'd expect the Bulls to have won. But, but going into the playoffs, you would say, oh, Indiana sweeps are in 5. But now it's kind of totally different.
You have Roy Hibbert just struggling so much, and he was supposed to be one of the big faces on this team. And you have Nene. What happened to this guy? This guy you don't even know this guy's last name.
Wait. Maybe Nene took Roy Hibbert's talent.
Who knows?
He space jammed him. Maybe that's what happened. Roy Hibbert had a 13.7 rebounds in Game 7. So that was his big bounce back game. Someone get him badass of the week for scoring 13 points. But you look at him, is he going to be able to continue it?
Right.
Who knows? And the front court for Washington really, really shined against the Bulls. They shut down Joakim Noah's passing in his offensive game completely. Right. And Carlos Boozer as well. They made him irrelevant. It was really Taj Gibson's toughness that was their only weapon inside. David West kind of brings that toughness, I think. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the front court. And then, of course, John Wall and Bradley Beal
continuing to develop.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you guys expect for this series? Do you expect Indiana to right this run? Give me a winner in a game here.
I'm gonna go Washington in 6. I'm just feeling it. I don't know. I think Indiana's got something structurally wrong with their chemistry right now that it's just kind of like a cancer. They can't perform with it right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Washington is playing with so much confidence right now, and just have guys like you said, Nene stepping up. You haven't heard from that guy in like 5 years, and you have that backcourt just continuing to develop. And I mean, I don't really like Indiana myself. I I'm a Heat fan, so I want Indiana to go down early, honestly.
I like Washington too, just, I mean, we've talked about Nene the whole time here, but just the fact that, Joakim Noah is probably one of the best center in the NBA this year. I mean, you have MVP chance when he goes to the free throw line, and the fact that he single-handedly shut him down in what was supposed to be a winnable series for the Bulls, but was just really, really impressive. And the way the Pacers are going right now, and you got fights in the locker room with Lance Stevenson and Evan Turner, and it's a whole bunch of bad instances back to back to back, and it's not translating on the floor. And Hibbert, former All-Star, playing the way he is now, you would never have thought that. And everything is pointing down, I think, for Indiana, and Washington's catching him at just the right time.
0 points, 0 rebounds, 1 assist for Hibbert now, by the way, in that game through 1.5 quarters.
Brooklyn also's got they won their game 7. They're going to play the Heat in this series. The Nets won all 4 regular season games. They were all by real wacky.
3 of them were by 1 point, and then another was
so it's not like they
overtime.
dominated the Heat, but they did. I mean, swept the Heat 4-0. What do we expect out of Brooklyn in this series, challenging the 2-time champs?
Well, it's another. I think you're going to be able to tell pretty quickly which way it's going to go. Either it's going to be a competitive series, or Miami's going to run away with it. Mm-hmm. I think Miami really flew under the radar, winning in 4 games. Sort of the rest of the hoopla of the first round went over them, and they just kind of cruised underneath it.
Which they're probably okay with.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah. So they could be very, very ready for this Brooklyn team, and I kind of see Miami winning it easily. Even though Pierce and KG, there was all this hype built up about them facing the big 3 and trying to avenge whatever legacy they lost. I think it's going to be Heat in 5.
I'm definitely going to say that he's going to win this series. I say Ness is going to take a game too, but the thing about the old big 3, well, minus Ray Allen now that he's playing for the Heat, Pierce and KG know how to play the Heat though. That's something about them. They real physical, and watching this Miami team for a few years now, a lot of years now, it's just Miami don't like being physical. I mean, you see a lot of those guys complain about calls, and that's something that could really get in their head. So I think Brooklyn's going to take it to him, but I think that he's going to win the series.
I don't want to be different, but I can't. I think I still have to pick the Heat in this one. It's just they have LeBron James, and that's a big factor in case anyone wasn't watching basketball. But I mean, and you look at Garnett and Pierce, and obviously they played well in the last series, but it's fatigue has set in. Older players now for them. They're not what they used to be, and that could maybe be it.
Yeah, and quickly, because we're running out of time, I expect Miami to kind of roll in this series as well. Brooklyn's tough, and they got all the rivalry stuff, but they're old and just not. They won't be able to compete really with Miami. We got to go to Clippers Thunder.
This should be a great series.
I'm going to love this series.
And I don't know which way I'm really into it either. I think the Clippers have so much other things that they're trying to still push past. And the Thunder have not looked very good at all either.
No.
So I have no clue.
I don't know if they would have won if Memphis had Zach Randolph and a healthy Mike Conley in Game 7.
I don't believe they would have.
But, I mean, the Clippers, obviously, they've had a lot going on with the Sterling issue, but I think they're sort of mentally moving past that with their first round win. I picked the Clippers to come out of the West going into the playoffs, so I think that they'll beat the Thunder. I don't think the Thunder have everything figured out with West and KD.
I have the Clippers winning this as well, and one thing about the Thunder is that, you can't have your best player on the team shooting less shots than Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's the type of player who's a gift and a curse on this team. They need him, but at the same time, when he's your point guard and he's shooting about 20, 30 shots a game, that's not good.
Yeah, Clippers as well. So much momentum coming off of all this. I mean, off the court issues are one thing, but it seems to be driving them right now, and they seem like the hot team to beat.
Spurs and the Trailblazers.
Spurs in 4. I don't think Houston was playing postseason basketball against Portland. I think Damian Lillard hit a huge shot in that game. It was awesome, but Portland's going to learn how you have to play in the postseason. I think the Spurs are going to teach them quick.
Just as far as Spurs one of those teams you can't count out. I mean, they just play so fundamental and kind of boring, but I mean, they know how to click definitely during this time of the year. I'd love to see Damian Lillard go far, but Spurs definitely they're just going to take it.
I like Portland in this one. I'm riding the Damian Lillard train, and I think it'll be a fun matchup to watch with Aldridge and Duncan, kind of the new school versus old school, and see who comes out of that.
I agree the Spurs are going to win this series. The Spurs don't sweep anybody, I feel like, ever. So I'm going to say
they swept the Grizzlies last year.
Yeah, but just throughout the run, they don't sweep a whole lot of teams.
Yeah.
Just remember that just watching them. I think it may be one of those, it could be 5 or one of those stupid long 6s, which I hate.
Okay, one of those 3-1.
And then you got to get a game, but you're going to lose the next game. It's just, I hate that. It's like, it looks like it's 6 and it was competitive, but it really wasn't.
Right.
So Anyway, we're going to run out of time here. We're going to go to our badasses of the week. And who wants to lead us off can go ahead.
Well, we were just talking about him. My badass of the week is Damian Lillard.
So you believe he's going to be swept, but you're going to give him a badass of the week on
I
Twitter.
think he was badass while it lasted.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'd like to see Portland get a game with Lillard and Aldridge. I think Lillard really is going to be a star, and he really shined in that moment. He really took it himself and put himself on the map with that shot. So props to him for arriving on the scene and doing so in a very awesome, very stylish way.
I like, for this one, Kyle Long did a really cool thing this week, going with 9-year-old kid from Illinois, Andrew Oyston. Sorry if I mispronounced his name, but facing a lot of bullying issues, and Kyle Long promised to help him get through those and go with him to school and kind of work with the school and things like of that nature. And so that just happened this past week or so. And
Did Kyle Long just like beat the crap out of?
Yeah, probably. But no, it was just a really nice gesture and a cool thing. He kept his pledge to this kid and helps him because bullying's such a horrible issue. It was good to see.
Mine is going to be Floyd Mayweather for the fight. It was a real good fight. I had the chance to watch it over one of my guys' house. He fought against Marcos Maidana, and that was the guy who actually beat Adrian Broner. So a lot of people thought that he was going to beat Mayweather, and Mayweather seemed to not skip a beat. I mean, he's not the most physical fighter, but his defense still rises at the age of 37, and he's still 46-0, still didn't get taken down. So I'm just still impressed with that.
Shout out to Casey Fletcher of Illinois baseball. 5 home runs. He had 3 home runs in one game on Wednesday. He had 2 more in a game. I think it was Friday.
They have 2 walk-offs?
And 2 walk-offs. Walk-off on Saturday and walk-off on Sunday. That is... I wish I had him on my fantasy team.
And he had never had a walk-off before this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, just...
He had a couple.
Yeah. Amazing.
Ridiculous.
Illini baseball is killing it right now, by the way.
Yeah, they're second in the Big Ten, so good luck to those guys, too. That's all we got for today. We'll be back with the season finale of Illini Drive next week. I'll be excited. 6 o'clock, not 6 times, but next week, 6 p.m., an hour of all your great Illini and you get Chicago and just sports topics.
You could DVR the UPTV show and watch it 6 times.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what kind of sick person does that, but you sure could.
We should have like teasers for like the next season finale and like have all these little plot twists.
Good voice.
Hopefully you die. Wow. I'm kidding there. Here we go.
Yikes.
Anyway, on that note, we're going to wrap up this show and go back to Champagne's Alternative. We thank you all for joining us, and we're going to send you back to WPGU 1071.
Thanks. Can't stay on there yet. Oh, yeah. Ow. Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. I see my place.